Microsoft with another kind of warning. This is weird. I have to say, to be completely honest, these are some strange things that happen to Xbox, but this is definitely not a good thing in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to be complaining about this. So yeah, Microsoft is not unusual for them to announce something like this or say, hey, we're having issues with this or that or the other thing. But what is very interesting is the way that this has kind of come about, and hopefully this is something that can get worked out rather quickly, because I can imagine it would affect a lot of people that actually own an Xbox, which would be a very unfortunate thing to say the least. At the same point in time, we do have, these are consoles, and consoles and games and things all tend to really hit home for people that have games, and and we game and we play video games together, and we kind of get into this stuff. But let's go. I'm Crap Gamer Reviews. I do daily gaming content. If you didn't know, now you know. I try to be fun yet informative, and that's pretty much the best that I can be. If you guys enjoy the content, all I ask is a simple like. If you guys do like the content, hey, let me know. And let me know what you guys like to see as well, because I think that's super important going forward. So now, with that being said, like I said, this was very interesting, this warning anyway. I felt like it was something that Microsoft probably messed up on. And listen, when you're firing, right, and laying off so many people the way that Microsoft are, stuff like this is probably bound to happen. You can't really, when you have like a tech sector stuff, you can't really cut corners and expect to really go and do something incredible or be amazing at it. And so that's, I think, part of the problem here, is that I think Microsoft, aside from like some piss poor hiring practices in the past that have like caught up to them, I feel like they've really are understaffed, and probably aren't staffing the right people for what they're doing. But anyway, Xbox consoles are hit with a bug that forces you to update all games. Can you imagine? There's an odd Xbox console update bug going around that may impact you in a very annoying way if you have lots of games installed. Guess what? I've got over 1,500 installed. So if you got a lot of games installed on your console, be prepared to potentially encounter a strange Xbox console bug update. From DLC to games you've had installed for over 10 years, nothing is safe from this odd situation. Xbox users are having to update a bunch of old games and DLC due to the bug itself. They're reporting that they have to install hundreds of updates out of the blue. If you wanted to continue playing the best Xbox game, you'll need to power through. Oddly, other players have come out unscathed, stating that they've not had any updates to do at all. So according to this, which I'll link in the description, players are showing off countless updates that have sprung out of nowhere. There's no reason why this is happening, but you should prepare yourself for a significant amount of updates if you haven't turned on your Xbox console recently. So yeah, there is that. To kind of, looking forward to, or whatever the case may be, and we'll see how that kind of works out for them. But this does kind of suck. It's not just games that have been impacted by this, but DLC as well. Someone over in the same post said that they had to update every piece of DLC they purchased for Rock Band, which had over 100 songs to go through. Other players have reportedly seen updates come in from super old games like Dark Souls 3, Lords of the Fallen 2016, and Xbox 360 titles with now defunct studios. The only silver lining is that most people are saying the updates are taking barely any time to finish installing, so despite having hundreds, it's not taking days to finish. With that said, users are reporting that once the updates are finished, they're having to reinstall them all over again. One user is apparently on their third cycle of updates with no end in sight, so just mentally prepare yourself for what may feel like a never-ending nightmare of updates. However, if you have barely anything installed on your console, you shouldn't have to contend with slogging through hundreds of updates, fortunately, which I think would be a pretty good thing, to say the least. That would explain why some players have no updates on their consoles. Like we said earlier, there's no known reason behind it why this is happening, but users are naturally speculating. Some players believe this could be Microsoft has updated its digital signature and had to re-sign every game. Others believe this has to do with Microsoft sending an update to check on your install games have a valid license, hence so many updates for older titles. Alas, unless Microsoft comes out and actually explains what's going on, we'll just have to keep pondering the situation. Anyway, we'll have to see, like I said, what happens. It's strange. These are all strange type of things that happen. And it's really hard to go out there and say, okay, well, why is this happening, or et cetera, et cetera. Could be any number of things, but the main thing that I kind of take away from this is Microsoft can literally, kind of screw over your entire console library just like that, right? I mean, and people don't think, people want to act like their stuff is safe or whatever the case may be. Trust me, your consoles are not safe. With your console games are not safe with Microsoft. I'll stand by that. I think that Microsoft, their idea of game preservation is like cloud streaming and stuff like that, which is definitely not game preservation in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but this does suck. If you are going through it, maybe have patience. I don't know if I would have the patience. I haven't really noticed any increase in in the way that I kind of have downloads. I always have about 90 to 100 plus downloads showing for updates on my games, but I only update the ones that I'm really into playing, like right now, so if it's not something that I'm interested in playing like right this second, I think that it's just one of those things that kind of happens. So anyway, I would definitely love to see something fixed in the future, whatever the case may be, and maybe Microsoft can figure that out. Like I said, considering that Microsoft is a game company and like a software company, they seem to have a lot of issues with being able to kind of get their games to do things that they want them to do. Like they have a really bad UI on the Xbox. Windows is kind of crappy. They've just got a lot of things that realistically are not good. Just aren't good to kind of see as a gamer. And it's super interesting the way that a company like Sony, who does hardware, but yet they've been able to kind of go and be able to have a better UI and things like that than say the company that does software for a living. So yeah, that's strange to me for sure. I would love to see something about it in the future. I just hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. Would love to see a change in the future where Microsoft can kind of get their heads out of their asses a bit and work something out here, because this kind of stuff I feel like is pretty ridiculous. But you never know what's going to happen in the future. Anything can really happen. And again, I think it really kind of comes down to whatever Microsoft is willing to put into the product. If they're going to half-ass it or whatever, then I feel like there's not really a whole hell of a lot of anything that anybody can do with it. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But Microsoft does have a lot of money. It just really depends on if they want to put that money into the actual platform and things. So hopefully they do, though. Hopefully they want to continue and do some things that get people excited about the console again, because right now it's like at an all-time lull in my opinion. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see and how that works out with Microsoft and the fans and all that kind of stuff. So I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions on this, though. How do you guys feel about it? Clearly we all are going to feel like a certain kind of way about it, but maybe that's going to be different depending on how you look at it. For me, this sucks. If you have a lot of games that are installed or whatever and you have to deal with this, I definitely feel bad for you, and hopefully Microsoft fixes it or gets something going to where you don't have to do that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys do enjoy my content, like I mentioned earlier, pretty much I just ask for a like or a share or subscribe. It helps the channel to be seen. It helps the, in general, the content to be seen, which I feel like is super important. And if you guys do enjoy that stuff, just let me know. And if you guys have ideas for content or something you'd like to see, you can also let me know, and I would definitely appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. I'll catch you guys next time. Crap Gamer out.